But if I'm not seeing any more questions, then let's go ahead and move on to the next part. So for those of you who are wanting to be character animators for Double Rainboom, after you've animated the smiley demo, which most of you guys who are here in the room right now have already done, your next step is to do a rough animation of whatever idea you have for your take and react. And let's go ahead and move on to that. So we're going to go back to those original 3 files. I'm going to close this. I'm not going to bother saving. And I don't need that anymore either, so I'm going to delete that. So those 3 files that you get, Smiley Demo Complete, John Doe Smiley 01, and John Doe Anim Test 01. Well, we've already done the Smiley, so the next thing to do is to open up the Anim Test. Hello, Zach, is it okay to make the nested symbol a pimple? Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. How do I time my movements? That's just through practice. I've animated a lot. And the more you animate, the better you get at just kind of intuitively knowing how to time your movements. But when I was first learning how to animate, I had to actually map out my movements. So let's say that I was animating that tumor happening on that smiley again. So if I just had a blank circle, I would actually draw a blank circle on another sheet of paper, and then I would go in really close to the paper using my pencil, and I would time this out. I'd go, all right, here's where it's going to end. That's where it's going to end at. So I need to go, all right, frame 1, frame 2, frame 3. It's getting bigger, frame 4, frame 5. But it has to slow down as it gets to it. Frame 6, frame 7. And then maybe I would just change it so that this one was closer. And I would actually use that to time my movements. See? Bam, 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 bam. But I don't really have to do that anymore just because I've done it so many times that I kind of already see it in my head anyways. And that's just with anything you do in life. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Yeah, practice makes perfect pretty much. Alright. So let's go on to the next stop. So John Doe Anim Test. This is where you would open up this file and you would immediately save it out. Control-Shift-Save, and you'd replace John Doe with your name, because John Doe is just a placeholder. So Zachary Rich Anim Test 01, save. I'm in a castle. Oh my god. Here we are. Zachary Rich, save, and no castle. There we go. Alright, let's take a look at this file. So we have a file here where it looks like we've got a layer that's set to guide. See that? And you can tell when a layer is set to guide by the little T-square icon that's right next to the layer name. Set to guide, and it looks like it just says Xsheet. There's nothing on it, so we'll worry about that later. Then there's a layer called Zdr Notes. Well, that stands for my name, Zachary Daniel Rich, and those are all the director's notes that I've given to you guys for this shot. What are those notes? Let's read those notes after we go through these layers. What else do we have? We have a frame edge. What is the frame edge? Let me unlock it. Oh, it looks like it's this entire black area. If I turn that off and on, it looks like it's just the black area. That's nice. I'll leave that locked for now. Then we've got a title safe. If I turn that, oh, it looks like it's this little title safe area here. So it's this box. Okay, well, I'm going to leave that locked. And then we have assets that say puppets. I don't know, it's set to guide and it says question marks, so I don't know what that is. We'll just leave that alone for now. And then there's one called rough animation. Okay, now that I know what all these layers are, or at least I know what they're named, let's go ahead and look at the notes and see what the notes say. So director's notes. Use the rough animation layer to create all of your rough animation in. Okay, well, that explains the rough animation layer. I'm going to do all of my rough animation on this layer. Piece of cake. Important. The animation must be a minimum of 48 frames. Okay, well, it looks like we're already set to 48 frames, so as long as I don't go any below this, I'm okay. And must convey 2 emotions, a take, react. A pony must also turn its head at some point. Don't stay in a 3/4 pose or a profile pose, mix it up. So basically, I have to create a rough animation, minimum of 48 frames, where I at least convey 2 emotions. Usually a take, react. So I'm going to have a pony standing there doing something. Something happens, and the pony reacts to it. And that emotion has to involve the pony turning its head. That's a piece of cake. Okay, I can do something like that. What else? Do not unlock the frame edge or the title safe layers. Okay, they're locked. I'll keep them locked. I'm not going to unlock those. Once your rough animation is complete, we'll use the assets folder and the question mark puppets layer to work with the puppets. Okay, well that explains what that is. So pretty much I don't even have to worry about that for now. So I'm just going to close that folder and I'll lock it so I don't have to worry about it. Tip: use the Xsheet layer to keep track of your poses and timing. Oh, okay, so that's what the Xsheet layer is for. It's to keep track of my poses and stuff. Well, how can I do that? Oh, well, I guess I could, like, maybe create a blank keyframe and maybe I'll write down a note on it saying, like, you know, blah. But it's like, blah arrow. It's like, oh my god. So I could use that so that, at that certain moment, a blah thing will happen and I can put down notes on this layer. Well, that's kind of cool. Another thing that you can do is when you've created a keyframe in Flash, notice how whenever I select that keyframe, the properties changes. I could put a label on this. Maybe I'll call this blah. Hey look, it actually appears down here. So now I've got the actual keyframe labeled and I've got the blah on there. So it's really nice. It allows me to take notes. For example, if I was timing out that tumor growing out of the smiley, I would probably use this Xsheet layer to, you know, draw out those lines to time it out correctly. So using this Xsheet layer is very important. And usually, in my experience at least, I have to create multiple Xsheet layers because I'm always keeping track of multiple things at once. Alright, I'm going to hit Shift F6 to get rid of that keyframe. So, what I need to do now is I need to create a rough animation of a pony. Well, there's a lot of different ways that we can go about that. Luckily, I'm on a Cintiq, and I can grab my Cintiq pen. And what I would do is I'd come up with an idea. So I'd research an idea. I'd be like, I want my pony to get hit in the face with another pony. So let's do that. So I'd be like, a pony is like sitting here, and she's like, oh my god. And it's like, oh god, I just realized something. I have no idea how to draw ponies. Maybe what I should do is watch the show, which a lot of you haven't done. You know how often it is when I sit down to look at a rough animation, and then I go, oh, have you watched the show? And then they go, oh yeah, like, dude, I hadn't thought of that. You are, like, so intelligent, man. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? If you're about to draw and animate something, you should probably watch it already being animated so you can get an idea of what it's like. For example, if you were hired by a studio to animate Pleakley from Lilo and Stitch, you probably should spend an entire day doing nothing but watching everything that has Pleakley in it, going through those animations frame by frame, grabbing out your sketchbook, pausing it, drawing Pleakley, hitting the play button, pausing it, drawing Pleakley again. You should fill up an entire sketchbook with nothing but Pleakley drawings. The same goes for ponies. If you are going to be animating ponies and you want to be really damn good at animating them, you should draw them. You should watch the show. You should gather reference. So I'm just going to do like a really basic, of course, maybe that shouldn't be on the Xsheet layer. Control X, Control Shift V. Okay, I'm going to lock the Xsheet layer. I don't want to mess with that. So I would have to gather reference of a pony like getting hit in the face with another pony, but I want like a general idea. So let's just get an idea down. So pony is standing here. Pony, let's see, what would the pony be doing? Maybe the pony is just standing there. And then she would be like, I'm going to turn on my onion skinning so that I can see the previous keyframe. And the pony is like, wait a second, oh my god, what's coming at my face? So she'll be, oh god, she's going to back away a little. So if anything, I could see she backs away. She's like, lifts up her head a bit because her head's going back. And then she's like, what's up? And her butt's going to lower a little because she's like, what the hell? And she's like, huh? And then I could see this leg raising. Wow, that is so not a leg. There we go. Leg raising, and then that other leg staying on the ground where it was. But it would go back a little because she leaned back a little. And then that would stay, and then that would stay. So that she goes like this. So, ha ha. Oh my god! What's it? Come here, come here. And then she looks at it, and then what happens is another pony is going to hit her in the face. So if another pony is going to hit her in the face, and I'm probably going to create a new layer, and I'll call this rough animation OP for other pony. I don't really care about the naming convention here. So bam bam, and maybe it takes 2 frames. So F7, and this other pony will be pink. And this pony will, let's see, what's a really good being hit in the face by movement? Maybe she's like, this is where I would gather reference from the show, but I can do that afterwards. I just need like a general rough idea of what I want to do. Maybe she's going like, huh? Maybe she herself is being thrown. What the hell kind of legs are those? There we go. We're going to go human legs for that. And she's like, no! She's being thrown! Okay, so there's that. And tail. Okay, so there's that pony. And then, oh god! Oh my god! And let's say 1, 2, 3 frames in, she hits her. Ba-bam! So, ha, ha, ha! Doot, doot, doot. Doot, 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 doot. And then what we have to do is we have to go F7, F7, turn on our onion skinning, and now we get to redraw those. So, I will go to the other pony layer, and then she'll be like, kerflaffle. Let's see, bam. Oh man, I just had a really good idea. Hang on. So, hits her, and, oh, God. Oh, that'd be so weird. Okay, alright. God. Burger? We all know that I'm drawing Pinkie Pie. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious I'm drawing Pinkie Pie here. Bam! 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 Alright, and what happens next is, this is obviously a Rainbow Dash. Kablam! And Rainbow Dash is getting hit in the face. But I want this. I want her to be like, bah. Okay. Blah. She gets hit. And then she's like, Grr. Voila. Burger. Nah, I won't kill her. Yeah, she's like, oh god. And she actually needs to be way over more. So if that's her back legs, this would be her front legs. Grr, like that. So what needs to happen here is, now that I know what Rainbow Dash is doing, I need to match her up with her back legs. So she's here, because that's where her back leg is. Which means that Pinkie Pie needs to be further over, like that. Bam, 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 bam. Alright, so we have, oh god, oh god! And then she gets hit, bam, and then what I'm going to have happen is is only something that you could do in a cartoon. So we're going to do 2 blanks again, and we're going to do Rainbow Dash first this time. And Rainbow Dash is going to Schlum. She'll actually and she'll put her feet down on the ground when she does this. Alright, so that way she and then Pinkie Pie is do 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 ra jumper. Let's see here. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, okay. Alright, I got it. So, phew, and she flies up. And, oh crap. Alright, well here's the thing. I drew Pinkie Pie on the wrong layer. Control X, Control Shift V, and she needs to move up a little more. Maybe like that. Shlum. Shlum. Okay. And and then what's going to be next? I don't really care about the timing right now. I'm more worried about, well, Pinkie Pie's going to disappear. Rainbow Dash has to settle back to her original position, though. Or at least to one where she's like, oh, God. So, F7. I want her back in her original position, but maybe turned more towards us. So I'm going to take this drawing here. Holding down Alt, I'm going to copy it over so that I have it as reference. And I'm going to draw something next to it because I want her to be back in that pose, but kind of at a slight 3/4. She's like, ah. Wow, that's so not right. Okay, let's try that again. Should be that. And maybe she'd have that foot up. And then her back feet. Oh, actually, I could actually see her a little lower, believe it or not. Like that. Okay, alright. Let's try this out. If I move her a little lower, like she's lost her balance. Make sure it's the same size. That's pretty much what I want. But okay, so if I do that, right? And I take that, and she would be kind of like that. Control X, delete, Control Shift V, paste it in place. So she'll be like, kabrow! And then she's, looks like we have a size difference here. So it looks like as I was drawing her, she slowly got smaller and smaller. Bam, bam. So my problem is this drawing here is a little too small. So I'm just going to take it and make it a little bigger. There. And then bam, this one's too small. She needs to be a little bigger. So like there. And that way this one is the right size. And she's like, oh God. And she would teeter around before finally going, yeah, you're a jerk. So let's turn on that onion skinning again, and we'll go. She would regain her balance and she'd stand up. So that means her belly would be up here. She'd be She's all angry now. And she's looking up. Okay. Alright. So I've got my little rough animation. And this is where I would go, hey, you know, I just did a whole bunch of crap. Maybe I should go Control Shift S, do a save as, and just save this number as a number 2. Save. You should all do that. Always do multiple save files by changing the numbers at the end. Okay, so any questions about what I just did? I haven't really been looking at your guys's, God, why? Let's see what you got here. Yeah, I'm doing this at my college right now. Oh, yeah, scaling her from the lower left corner, I just held down Alt. Because, you know, Alt will always lock something by the opposite corner. So, okay. So now the next step I would do is go, alright, well, I've got my little rough drawings. Now I need to actually find poses from the show. Because I don't know how to draw ponies. So this is where I would go to Google. And I would type in, you know, Rainbow Dash. Which will bring up 5 bajillion. Okay, well, if the interwebs would work today, there we go. And if you go to images, you've just got a bajillion images of Rainbow Dash. And I bet you that one of these would fit what I want. And there's so many. So that's where I would get images of Rainbow Dash. And if I found an image that I really liked, like I need one of her just kind of standing over here, right? So let's find one of her standing and looking over. Do-do-do-do. 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 Do. Wow, you'd think that they would have one. Oh, they do? I spell wiki right. So, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Wiki. Okay. Wait, gallery? Ooh, sweet! That's freaking awesome! Well, this is a really great tool to use. Okay, so I just need one of her just kind of standing there being like, hello, what's happening? What's your face? Basically any episode would do it, but I want one from here. The hell? Why is it so hard to find a stupid drawing of it? Yeah, I know. Now, what? That's it? Wait, really? What episode? Oh, I see. Okay, alright. What's a good one? Let's go to one where she had a focus. Sonic Rainboom. Oh, nice. Okay. Why are you standing? How do I get you? You just... Wait. Oh, God. What are you doing? Yes? Yes, Kelsey, what do I do next? Yes? Go ahead and do it for me. Alright. Oh, click on the title. Oh, gotcha. That makes more sense. Okay. Alright, here's one. Look at that. I can kind of use that as an example. Alright, let's just use this. Okay, let's just say I wanted this image of Rainbow Dash right here. It's a good image. That. So I would right click. Okay, never mind. Normally you can copy these things. Okay, no, you'd go see full size image. Okay, then you'd right click and you'd go copy image. Come back here to Flash. Create a new layer. Call this layer RD reference. This is for Rainbow Dash reference. Actually, I'll put it up here above the frame edge. And I'll just hit Control V to paste it. Bam! It's all the way in here in Flash. Sweet! Alright, now I'm going to go, I'm just going to move it up out of the way for now. And I would like it to where I didn't see Twilight Sparkle in there. So I'm going to right click the picture, hit break apart. And I'm going to select all the parts that don't have Rainbow Dash in it. Delete. 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 And delete. And then I'll select this, I'll hit F8 to turn it to a symbol. And I'll call it RDRef01. There. Now I've got a nice little symbol of Rainbow Dash. And I can use this as my guide. So I want this to be about the same size, which it is, actually. That's kind of nice. Alright, and now what I can do is I can use that as a reference for drawing Rainbow Dash in more detail. So I need to change this into more detail. So maybe I'll create a new layer up here, and I'll call it Rough Anim Detailed. Alright, and I'll use a different color. Maybe I'll make it the color of her skin. That would be good. Bam. And I'll change my brush size to maybe a 3. Get it to the same thickness. Yeah. Okay. And now here we go. So I'm going to draw her. So do-do-do, do-do-do. I would actually... Actually, that is a little too thick. Alright, the only problem now is that this needs to be a little thicker. Yeah, that's really not how it is. I've drawn ponies enough to know that this is not a circle. It's more of an oval. Right. And she is 3/4 pose. Alright. So wings. Alright. Now that we've got that, I'm going to take another color and I'll set this to paint behind, so that way whenever I paint, it goes behind what I already had. And I'll do her tail. And her hair. Alright, I don't need this reference image anymore, so goodbye. And I don't need it in my library anymore, so goodbye and goodbye. Alright, and I don't need this anymore, so goodbye. And I'll take this, well, wait, hang on, I should at least take this and position it to match. There. So now I don't need this anymore. Goodbye. So now I've got Rainbow Dash here. She doesn't look pretty, but she is proportionally accurate, and she is on model. And that's all we care about. Who cares if the drawing doesn't look pretty? We're going to be animating with the puppet anyways, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to symbolize it, and I'll call it maybe RD Rough 01. There, that way it's a symbol. Alrighty. And let's keep going. Bam. And she has a different pose here. So I'm going to draw that pose now, and I don't really need to gather reference for that. I can just go F6, take my existing symbol. I'm going to right click, I'm going to duplicate that symbol. That way I call it O2. And that way I have a second symbol. And then I'll double click inside of it, and I'll edit it. And what I'm going to do with this symbol is that since she's basically just teetering back, I'll teeter her back a little, like that, and then make sure that that matches. That way she leans back. And her head is basically, if I grab her head, like that, her head's basically turning up and going back a little like that. Like, what the hell is coming at me? It's a flying Pinkie Pie. And it looks like this leg down here is going to raise up. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to grab this, grab that, and luckily I've drawn enough pony legs to know how it looks. He's like, what the hell? My god. Okay. So, haha, double click out. And since that was its own symbol, I've now got two different symbols of her animating. Alright, that means I don't need this anymore. Delete. So that way she goes, ha 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 ha. And I would basically do that for this entire animation. I would go through the entire thing and get everyone drawn out accurately. The key is to not make them look pretty, but to make them proportionally accurate. That is the key to success. And Pinkie Pie, oh god, oh god. So let me go ahead and go on to the next step.